Yes. There are six different type of binding time. The first is the language design time and language implementation time, and the compile time and load time and run time. Sometimes the link time. 아이요. 예, 감사합니다. So what is the language design time? Yeah, for example, let's say yeah. So what when you define int a, so for example, if you run a is a plus, let's say, 아유, 전화가 오니까 정신이 없네요. 네. So if you write down a is 3, 4 plus 4. And what about the 3 multiplied by 4? So the meaning of plus or multiplication, 이게 좋은 예가 아닌가? Yeah, the meaning of multiplication or some, let's say, divided. The meaning of this divide. So the meaning of this notation is division. So when the meaning of division is defined, is language design time, program language design. So when you design the program language or C or Java, you have to describe the meaning, like using a syntax, analyze the syntax or semantic meaning. You have to decide the meaning, and so the meaning of this operator is determined at the language design time. 우리가 그냥 쓰고 있는 대부분의 이제 우리 오퍼레이터들이라든지 뭐 키워드라든지 이런 것들이 언제 결정이 되느냐는 인테저가 의미하는 게 뭐냐. 이거는 프로그램 언어를 디자인하는 시점에서 int는 데이터 int를 선언하는 의미다라는 것은 우리가 language design time에 결정이 된다라는 거죠. And what is the implementation time? What is the example of implementation time? Is so if you define integer a for the same program, let's say C program. So if you compile this statement in Linux or sometimes some supercomputer. 아유. So you use a different compiler for some general Linux. Maybe you can use GCC. This compiler, GCC compiler, implements C program language compiler. And maybe if you have a supercomputer, you have a different compiler for the C program. Let's say SCC. I don't know there is some such compiler, but let's say there is some SCC compiler for the supercomputer. Then the same program integer A. So if you run GCC, then the size of A is determined by 32-bit. However, if you have some supercomputer and you have your own C compiler, then if you compile this program, the size of A is maybe 1 to 8-bit. So that means in that case, SCC or GCC has different define different size of integer, because the C program language specification, they didn't mention about the range if you define long, then C specification defines the size of long is 4 byte. However, integer A, then the size of integer variable is, it depends on the compiler. It depends on the machine. So that means the language implementation time, the SCC compiler or GCC compiler has different meaning. So that is the language implementation time. 그래서 우리가 뭐 인테저의 크기는 사실 이제 머신별로 우리가 머신의 컴파일러별로 달라집니다. 그래서 이 경우에는 그게 언제 바인딩 되느냐, 인테저 크기가 언제 바인딩 되느냐는 랭귀지 임플리멘테이션 타임, 즉 컴파일러 개발하는 시점에서 우리가 결정이 된다. 뭐 이건 우리가 하여튼 뭐 말하고자 하는 거 아니에요. 어쨌든 이렇게 바인딩 타임은 아이고마. 카톡을 꺼야 되겠네. 랭귀지 바인딩 임플리멘테이션 타임에도 바인딩이 발생할 수 있다라는 거고요. 그래서 그다음에 이제 우리가 실제로 이제 우리 이 프로그램 언어에서 주로 이야기할 거는 이제 요 크게는 두 단계로 생각할 수 있을 것 같아요. 3단계까지. 컴파일하고 로드는 이렇게 좀 약간 섞여서 쓰기도 하니까. So what is the compile time? So when you define a integer A, the type of A is defined at the compile time. So that is a usual case. What about the load time? If you so we will load time. If you for example, if you define a static int in C, you can define static C. Okay. Then the location of C, the variable A, the location of this variable is determined at the load time and the run time. For example, if you use pointers, for example, malloc, then the address of this malloc, the variable A is determined at the runtime. Okay. So we discussed more in detail, but however, there are many binding times. So language design time, implementation time, compile time, and maybe load time, link time, and the run time. Yeah. For example, if you declare, 제가 이렇게 전화가 오니까 좀 정신이 없는데. So if you just see this one statement, count plus 5, this single statement. First, what is the type? Type of count is bounded at compile time. Where if you define integer count, type is determined, bounded on a compile time. 우리가 요 한 문장을 보면 count라는 변수는 compile time, type은 compile time에 결정이 되고요. 그다음에 그 possible, the set of possible values. 그 value의 range, value의 range는 compiler design time, language time에 결정이 되고. What about the meaning of plus? The meaning of plus is defined by compile time. because the plus has many meaning, right? So you can use the same plus. For example, is an integer plus integer, or float plus float. So it has a different meaning, right? Or maybe some plus plus is the single increment, right? So plus of the symbol of operator, the symbol of plus has many meaning. So the meaning of this plus is determined, bounded at the compile time. Okay. What about the 5? The meaning of the what is the meaning of 5 is, the 5 is the value of 5. The meaning of 5 is determined by compile design time. So when you design a program, the 5 means the value of 5. That is the compile design time you define. Okay. What about the value? Yeah, value is obviously determined by execution time. When you execute, the variable is determined. So likewise, we have many for the single statement. So variable has many attributes. So each attribute is bounded at some different time. That is a binding time. So what we are interested is the type binding and some other things. So let's discuss of type binding more in detail. 그래서 여러 가지 중에서 프로그래밍 언어의 입장에서는 이제 여러 가지 몇 가지 중요한 개념이 그 바인딩 타입이 있는데 오늘은 타입 바인딩에 대해서 한번 살펴보도록 하겠습니다. 혹시 질문이 있습니까? So do you have any questions?